Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year! Happy evening to all! Today, I will be presenting my study entitled Online Collaborative Exam Design System for the Schools of the Brothers of the Sacred Heart. This is for the completion of the course Advanced System and Design Implementation under Dr. Tamara Cher Mercado, Dean of the College of Information and Computing at the University of Southeastern Philippines, Obrero, Davao City, Philippines. By the way, I am Chris C. Bahaya.
At the end of this video, you will be able to know and understand the following: conceptual framework, technical architecture, overall technical architecture, system standards, database design, database architecture, prototype design with technical specification, and the last, implementation plan. So, are you ready? Let's go! What is OCEDS? OCEDS is an acronym for Online Collaborative Exam Design System. OCEDS is a system that is convenient and easy in making an exam for the schools of the Brothers of the Sacred Heart. The system will be a channel of data gathering from different schools or universities in creating an exam for students by collaborating to other faculties or instructors from different schools. So let's now proceed to conceptual framework. In the proposed knowledge base, OCEDS, it includes different set of information that will be analyzed as one to create effective decisions in making exam. So for the entities, when we say entities, it refers to individuals, organization, systems, bits of data, or even distinct system components that are considered significant in and of themselves. So in our system presented, the entities are Office of the Academic Affairs, Collaborative Exam Design Committee, and the school departments. So these entities will contribute to the databases that you can see. First is the skilled HR and material resources. Second, intervention database. Third, exam database. And the fourth, disaster database. So now, let's proceed to the technical architecture. Technical architecture, the goal of this is to define the technologies, products, and techniques that is necessary to develop and support the system, and to ensure that the system components are compatible and comply with the standards set by the system owner. So for the overall technical architecture, divided into 5 subtopics. First, system architecture context diagram. System architecture context diagram, it is a graphical representation of the system and of the external components that interact with the system. So in my system, as you can see, this is what it looks like. So we have the workstation. Workstation for the 3 entities. First is the Office of the Academic Affairs, which is the admin. Second, school departments that will be used by the instructor or the faculties. And the third is the collaborative exam design committee, also the admin, that connects through the internet and to the web server. When we say web server, it processes incoming network requests over HTTP and several other related protocols, and to the SQL server. Lastly, NAS, or the network attached storage, that serves files either by its hardware, software, or configuration that provides data access to a heterogeneous group of clients. So next, second, system architecture model. It defines the structure, behavior, and more views of a system. It describes and represents the system in an organized way that supports reasoning about the behavior of the system. As you can see in the model, so we have first is the information system that connects through the internet through its browser. Second, internet. Internet sending data packets. It's either from the router. The router monitors and controls the incoming and outgoing network. Thus, the firewall, it secures the servers from malicious attacks. At the same time, filtered traffic, requests, and other activities by the user to the web app server, where the user inputted the data through the SQL server. And through the SQL server, passed through to the NAS, where it stored data or the files that the user being inputted. So next, we have the overall architectural consideration. So these are the things or the factors that being considered in the proposed system. First is the security strategy. Security strategy is a document prepared periodically which outlines the major security concern of an organization and outline plans to deal with it. Like, for example, keeping specific log or history data sets assigned to a certain functions to different modules, restrict communications between some areas of the program, and check data integrity for critical variables. Second, performance requirements. Defines how well the system performs certain functions under a specific condition. The database shall be able to accommodate a minimum of 10,000 records of exam. Third, database sizing. Database sizing helps you estimate the requirements for your database, anticipate capacity for growth, and plan disk requirements. Number 4, data import and export is the automated or semi-automated input and output of data sets between different software applications. And the last, disaster recovery. The database may get crashed at any certain time due to virus or operating system failure. Therefore, it is required to take the database back up. Next, system architecture component definition. So we have the workstation, internet and router, firewall, web server, SQL server. So as you can see, all these components are being discussed in the previous slide. So now, what are the products that being selected in this system? So for workstation, the products that being selected is the Asus baseboard i5-7400. For the router, MikroTik 1036-12G-4S. For firewall, Ubiquiti Firewall. For web browser, server rather, Proliant ML350P Gen 8. SQL server, Proliant ML350P Gen 8. NAS, Network Attached Storage. We have the Synology DS916. So now let's proceed to the system standards. Defines the standards that will follow in the development of the OCEDS and the following areas. First, graphical user interface, reporting, application navigation, error prevention and correction, programming, documentation, naming convention, database access and views, configuration management standards, release management standards, and the last, testing standards. Database design. Database design is to provide a database architecture overview of the OCEDS, database design and available application. This document will capture and convey the infrastructure and high-level database design which forms the basis for the OCEDS components. So this is what it looks like. So for the database management system configuration, so you can see it in the diagram, vendor, we have the Asus, hardware, SQL server. For the version, there is no version, and for the comments, none also. Next, database software utilities. So in this system, we use the PHP MyAdmin project. For the hardware, PHP MyAdmin, and the version is the 4.8.3. Comments, or you can use the latest version upon implementation. Next, for the support software, PHP MyAdmin, version 4.8.3. Purpose, software for query language, managing database and tables. Database architecture, hardware architecture. So here we have the information system. So for the information system, we have the PHP MyAdmin will be accessed and configured in the PC through local hosts. Connected to the internet, sending data packets. For the router, same, monitoring, control information, incoming and outgoing networks, securing the servers from malicious attack. Firewall, filter traffic requests and other activities by users. For the web app server, data inputted by the users. And for the SQL server, the database will be stored in this server. A configuration tool also comes with SQL server. And the last, hardware architecture is the NAS. It is for backup database will be stored in this external storage. So when we say hardware architecture, it emphasizes on the hardware components. So we have the workstation, we have the internet, we have the SQL server, and the NAS, or the network attached storage. So now let's proceed to database architecture, software architecture. So here, from the information system, proceed to the router portal where it will connect, and we have the traffic shaper so that it will not be congested, through the web server portal, and then through the DMS tools. Any DMS tools you can use. So next we have the technical specification. The goal of this technical specification document is to define the system and its development and testing strategies in enough detail to enable the application developers to construct and test the system with minimal need for further explanation. The document places the system in its context, from technical architecture, customer interface, and system development perspectives, provides detailed module specifications for all its components, details units, integration, and system plans, and outlines deployment and transition plan. So now let's proceed to the prototype. So this is the prototype of the main module of the system, creating the system. So here, this is the interface or the prototype of the exam, or creating the exam. First is in that button, you can see add exam in the upper left. And then for the categories, you can see it in the right side. So there are list of exam categories. So for example, you choose to click the architecture. So upon clicking, there is another prototype for the creating the questions. So first, add new question. So here, you can choose true or false, multiple choice, essay, or just add new questions. It depends upon you on what type of exam you're going to create. So this Monty Python, this is the name of the exam. So for example, if we click the architecture, then the appearance for this prototype is the architecture. So for example, a user named Philip Sanoy created an exam, and the question there is, Tyler is beautiful. And then the answer is true. So upon creating the question, there are buttons that you can see. First is to vote, view comments, approve question, and then for the counter for votes, and then a counter for comment. So in this prototype, this is for the admin side because there is approved question. So this is the status of the question that being created by Mr. Sanoy. If his question is approved, then the status of this item is approved. Okay, and then also another bottom below where you're going to place your comment. Add comment or edit question. But take note, only the user or the faculty that created that exam can edit the question. And then for the comment, where anyone can comment as long as it is connected to the test item. Okay, this module is where the users will manage the data and information about the examination. This module allows the user to recover and view the exam information. Next is the implementation plan. The document presents all implementation procedures and how shall it take place. Herein discussed are the deployment and transition plans, such as the trainings for the users, the data that will be injected to the system, installing the systems to each agencies, and making sure all is working as indeed. After the pre-deployment procedures come the post-deployment procedures, which were also discussed in this document. These post-deployment procedures involves the updates in the system, archiving and retentions, and backup and retrieval.
Let's wrap up! OCEDS is an online system that would provide a much organized and standardized way in collaborating with faculties to be able to make departmental exams in a more convenient way. You can use this video for